And I have a question in nature, but I ain't just trying to. I mean,
We're live. We are live.
and yeah, you can still gonna get what I was about to say.
Finish it up. Good morning.
Because I have a
You
question.
have a question in nature.
I'm not
Go.
dumb. That's
No,
the
you're
thing.
not dumb. No. Not dumb at all.
I don't know. Really? Why you gonna look away? See, you gotta watch Sarah. No, you
I'm
gotta watch
always
Sarah
getting
because
accused of some shenanigans.
because you be with it.
I think
and-
everyone
and
should
I
have a
know.
questioning nature.
Yeah, and I'm just like not. I don't know, especially when you said no money's involved. I don't know, but anyway.
Well,
Anyway.
to some people, there's money.
I hope you all can
we're talking
hear
about
us.
a whole other thing. We're going to
We
get
can't
into
mess
that
with
another
today.
day.
We
Guess
have to have
what?
our comments on.
Listen.
Oh, let me turn
Oh,
the comments
turn
over
the
here.
comments
Because we want
on.
to engage, and hopefully everybody's watching on their way to work or having coffee this morning with our new
Listen.
time.
It is morning.
I need more
Cheers
coffee.
to morning.
Cheers. Good morning. Good morning. Happy
Not-
Friday.
Not a morning
It is Friday. We decided to meet at 7:30 in the morning, and guess what? I feel great about it. I feel good about it. Parking downtown was a breeze, and so I hope you all enjoy this new time just as much as we are, right?
Yeah,
Right,
get your
right.
juice. We are here at Seed and Bean. It's very lively here this morning. Come see us. Hopefully, some of these folks will jump in on the conversation with
Yeah.
us as well.
See, this morning crowd was awesome, but anyway, we did have some technical difficulties. So let us know and make sure that we're sounding okay. We're leaning in this morning because we want to be close to
You know what's funny is I was the furthest back from the mic, and I was the only one you could hear. So I don't know if it's necessarily-
Chantel's sexy voice that
My,
is hard to be picked up.
See, that's my sweet voice. I I can rock children to sleep with this voice.
With those
Speaking
vocals?
of yes, like this is my my Chinese teacher voice. Good morning, everyone.
Dao
Good morning, Miss Chantel.
I've never been quiet in my life.
Yeah,
I have a teacher voice too. I have a kindergarten teacher
It
voice.
goes.
yeah. I got my energy is not like that though. My energy is.
I don't know. I could be a teacher. I can do that.
You are totally a teacher. Do your teacher voice.
like my kindergarten teacher voice.
You,
Yeah,
you
do
as
it,
a
do it, do
teacher.
it.
You're like, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see
Yes.
you today.
Good morning. Good morning. Do yours.
Good morning. I can't even.
Yeah. This is Rough Ride
I'm like,
over
good
here.
morning. How's it going?
Listen, what's up? And then you get right into Russia. Yeah, that's where y'all live. That's y'all baseline. It's Russia.
Oh, listen, I can talk about China. I can talk about Russia.
Not necessarily.
You want to get into foreign
The
policy?
question of the week is Russia using Chantel? That's the question of the week. That's what has been going around. But anyway, nevertheless, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Like I
I'm
said,
Chantel, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, sitting next to two of the most intelligent women.
we got Dr. Cindy Banyai and
Sarah Wilson.
we are, obviously I'm quite loopy because it's morning.
Yeah.
Because I stay up all night reading about the horrifying things happening in our country.
Ooh.
However, there was something that was quite interesting that happened yesterday.
Yes. Something we've all been waiting for. The indictment of Donald J. Trump.
So I was looking all over social media. Of course, social media goes crazy when something like this happens, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying this is a sure way to get Donald Trump elected in 24. And so there was this optimism among a lot of conservatives that, they feel like even though this seemingly is a bad thing, he can definitely run for office again,
Mhm.
even with this conviction.
Okay, Donald Trump is a master of media, and
Right.
all publicity is good publicity.
Mhm.
So I think
Entertainer
that's
in
what
chief.
they're thinking.
This is definitely catapulting him back in the spotlight after he's been somewhat out of it for a while. He lost his platforms. Social media has always been his way of reaching his people, and he kind of lost that. And I think we saw that last week with his call to action, because there was a very, very low turnout in the call to protest pending his indictment last week. So I want to say that was almost a ploy for him to get a poll on how much support that he still has. But this will definitely catapult him into the spotlight once again and rally his supporters around this idea that he has been so aggrieved, which...
Right. And he's trying to make it out. Yeah, like this is, of course, his statements. It's a witch hunt, blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about 34 counts, including at least one felony.
Right.
Right. Because actually, that's something that Rebecca Jones and I talked about when we did our episode on, because when Trump was talking about it initially, it was essentially a lie. Like he was maybe getting some inclination, but the grand jury hadn't voted yet.
Right.
And she was saying, look, that the vast majority of what they're investigating for him against him in New York State are misdemeanors.
Right.
So why is he hyping this up? Except for he wanted to fundraise off of it too. He raised over $2 million in a couple of days off of that lie that he was going to be arrested.
Right.
Damn.
But he is facing a possible felony, and nobody knows the exact charges as of yet, unless that came out this morning.
It's not been unsealed yet.
Okay, so from my understanding, from some legal analysis, he could face up to 4 years in prison for a felony charge.
Well,
So
I
we'll
listened
see.
to another news source that says he won't face any jail time at all. I don't know. I'm
know.
just here.
Well, it still has
I'm
to
not
be.
with him.
Listen, and not only is the indictments have to be unsealed, but then the prosecutor has actually got to go through the entire legal process with it.
Right.
Donald Trump is also notorious for dragging out legal proceedings, so he's going to use all sorts of different types of tactics. It will inevitably at some point go to trial.
Right.
And whether or not they can make 34 counts stick is going to be the question.
Ooh,
Okay,
Lord,
so
have mercy.
question, what do you make of Ron DeSantis saying that he would not extradite Donald Trump from Florida, which would never be necessary because, as we know, this is a white-collar crime. Donald Trump will turn himself in with his attorneys. He may do the perp walk because he likes that kind of attention. So
What's
that's
the perp walk?
where he is filmed actually walking in
Wow.
for the arrest. Yeah.
Hi, Cindy. Cindy mentioned the perp walk. She said, "Party at my place when they perp walk him."
Hi, Cindy.
Can you all hear us? Okay, just give us something,
Yeah,
some
let us
kind of
know.
feedback. All right, but yeah, so that's going on. But we also have to. Man, it's just like America is always jumping. The United States got something going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, to a lot of my foreign friends, they're like, oh my God, your country is wild. But we want to pay honor and give respect to the lives that were lost in this latest mass shooting, which seems to be an ugly pattern that we've adopted here in the United States. And it brings up a lot of questions about gun safety, about mental illness, and now we see transgender coming into the forefront. And it's crazy. We were talking earlier about media and how people purposefully will manipulate certain stories. You got money, you can manipulate stuff. That's just the way life is. And so there were all of these narratives, and I would send them to Sarah, but they were like yet another, making it seem like all of the mass shootings that occurred were by transgender people. And listen, this is definitely a conversation to talk about anything that you want to talk about. That's the beauty of it. We can share our opinions. We can learn from each other,
Right.
but we got to really stop and say, wow, are we really turning an attack on an entire group of people yet again? But then a lot of people are saying, yo, Christians are under attack. I just think everybody in some way is under some sort of attack because we seem to be at odds with each other. A lot of us.
That's also part of the narrative. It's true. It's
the
true because
Russian
we're actually living in
No, not that narrative.
Okay.
part of the safest
Okay.
time in human history.
I think
Yeah, we are.
And crime has been going down since the 70s overall. Now, we did see an uptick in the pandemic era. However, you're talking about really high rates of poverty in the 70s all the way down through the 90s. And then it spiked up a little bit, but it's still nowhere near as high as it had been. So
Right.
we're actually safer now. The difference is how we talk about it. And if you're a fan of Freakonomics, whether or not there's abortion.
what now? See, maybe mornings
Okay,
ain't for
'cause
me
listen,
because I'm trying to keep up this
This is
morning.
true. So
And
there-
Cindy,
there's
first of all,
actually-
Cindy, you are never not on it. It don't matter if it's 6 p.m., 7:30 a.m.
I did have a delicious pumpkin
Y'all
spice
wake up like I
latte.
tell Sarah too. I'm like, y'all really gives a
Oh, I've been
crap.
studying this a long time. But so yeah, actually there are some
Cindy has had her this other Cindy Schreider. Look at what she said. 2 places you can be safe. Number 1, out of my business.
and
And
in your
number 2,
lane.
in your lane.
I
Okay,
love it.
you
I love it,
yeah,
Cindy.
you with it this
Those are
morning,
my
Cindy.
rules too. I'm adopting those rules.
Yeah. But what were you
So
saying?
yes, so that actually there's some evidence that the corresponding decrease in crime rates has everything to do with the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Yes. Okay.
So once there were less unwanted pregnancies, less poor women having pregnancies they couldn't afford, by the time those children would have been adults, they're not turning into criminals because they're not in such a dire situation. So that's a correlation actually. So it's not causation,
Right.
but it's something to think about when we're seeing the overturning of Roe v. Wade and all of these very extreme anti-abortion laws across the country. So here's the thing: all y'all who are talking about being pro-life, get ready for the crime rate to come in 18 years.
Well, they're not going to care because it's going to be guns everywhere because Florida, you don't have to have a permit now. And so everybody's going to be, just get a gun. It's wild. Like,
You know what's crazy about that law too, Chantel? The new permitless carry. Did I cut you off?
no, I'm just trying to figure life out this morning.
Because to me, nobody's happy about this law. Not even the gun lobby in Florida and the gun supporters, the Second Amendment supporters, because they wanted open permitless carry. So no one is really happy with this new law. And the thing about it is, to me, is the open part is kind of irrelevant. Like, who cares if I can see it on you? If you're able to have a gun and carry it in public spaces without a permit, that's the problem. The permit is the real, in my opinion, is the real danger. Whether you can open carry or conceal carry, I think is kind of irrelevant.
Well, and actually what the speculation is, and Ron DeSantis has been saying, is that he's going to veto open carry, have a special session, and get completely, the permit, not permitless carry, but open carry. So he's gonna veto that, and then bring everybody back to Tallahassee to make an even more dangerous law.
Right. To remove even more restrictions.
Wow.
Oh, but you know what? Ron DeSantis also, while we're speaking on him, Disney kind of
what's
showed
going
out
on
on
with
Ron.
Disney, everybody was saying Disney, I guess kind of,
Yeah.
you need to,
Are
they
we?
do.
Tell us about it.
So basically, what happened is that Ron DeSantis stripped Disney of their special taxation. Basically, Disney is it Reedy Creek? Reedy Creek District. And these are special tax districts where they pick up the responsibility of infrastructure outside of Disney. So the community outside of Disney, they were responsible for the board. And they paid those taxes. So they absorbed some of those taxes so that the community surrounding didn't have to cover the taxes for Disney's development.
Well, that was nice.
Right. So, that was removed, and Ron replaced many of the board members to put some of his cronies in. And what ended up happening is, before the former board was absolved, they signed their power back over to Disney. And under this, do you remember the name of it?
I forget what it was called, but it was something related to the monarchy.
Yes. So basically, this is in effect until the last descendant of King Charles III, 21 years after the last descendant dies, which is crazy, right? Like, I'm like, what? How is that even possible?
King Charles.
Yeah. So basically, for a real long time, Disney has their power back. And
King Claus, said Cindy,
took the power back from the board that DeSantis put in place. So now the board is basically only going to be responsible for some minor infrastructure and keeping roads clean. But Disney has their power back.
So what does this mean for all of us who want to visit Disney? Does this mean nothing at all?
No.
But it's a win for the one that their freedom was trying to be, not their freedom, but their rights. They were trying to be bombarded by the government and government decisions.
It was an authoritarian power grab by Ron DeSantis.
Right. And they dodged it. So shout out to Mickey. Shout out to Mickey and the gang, because look, you can't shake Disney's influence on our lives. So shout out to Disney.
Let me say this one thing though, because I, as much as I love a big middle finger to Ron DeSantis, I'm also very wary of giving corporate power to corporations that should actually be in the public space. So I disagree with Ron DeSantis having an authoritarian takeover of Reedy Creek, but I also disagree with the corporation being allowed to do whatever they want. So like I said, I'm gonna enjoy the Mickey middle finger here, but I'm gonna just give a little
Mickey
caveat.
middle finger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to pause because wow, this crowd that we have this morning at Seed and Bean Cafe, Friday mornings is where it's at. This crowd is in
pumping in
here. It's amazing. Shout out to Seed and Bean. And you guys can come and be a part of all the action at any point, anytime. Just stop in now on Friday morning, starting at 7:30. We sticking with 7:30.
Yeah, because on
Yeah.
Sarah was late.
and the weeks that I have my kids, I'm going to be rolling out to walk them to school. But I think that I'm feeling the morning a
I
little
like
bit
it
now.
too.
I like the
I
morning.
think I
vibe.
might need 2 coffees.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have as much to contribute on Friday mornings though, because I'm just sitting here and y'all just know about King Charles. Who was that? King Charles II?
The
Like,
third.
why is that even a part of life
I have
right
no
now?
idea.
Like,
I
but
don't-
y'all,
It was
don't
some
know.
legal maneuver that
but y'all know about it, and
Well,
maybe
I
I
don't
just
on
really
need.
know
Twitter.
shit about King Charles.
How
but
can I
what
stay?
do
No,
know is
how
that's
can
what
I
they
stay more
use.
connected?
Twitter.
Twitter?
For me, Twitter is like a confusing space that I tried to jump into, but I'm late to the
Because
game
I
in all
want to be
social
able to
media.
talk about this stuff freely too. And y'all just you woke up like this. So what
woke
source
up
do
like
I
this.
need to tune into to just be knowing about what Disney did with King Charles III?
Well, I follow like NPR, New York Times, The
NPR
Guardian.
is solid.
I also read Florida Politics.
Yep, Florida politics.
Okay.
I will say, so you had another caveat on Florida politics. Florida politics is run by Republicans, so they have a
Yeah.
lot of Republican stuff. But however, Peter Sorsich just started following Big Mouth Media on Twitter. So even though we're itty bitty, we are nipping at his heels.
Nip, nip.
Okay.
Here
I
we
would
come.
love for Big Mouth Media to take the place of Florida politics as being a go-to place for politics in Florida, but also highlighting things that are not just what the Republicans are doing.
Right. Well, you know what though, I have to say that as someone who does follow Florida politics, the media, I don't know. I think they do a pretty good job of not being very biased.
You know who does the best
you
job at that?
Who?
C-SPAN.
Tell them
Your
C-SPAN.
unfiltered view of government. Shout out to C-SPAN for making me who I am to this day.
There
Well,
you go.
you can also watch the Florida channel if you want to know what's going on in Florida. That's live House floor.
I was just like,
Which,
No.
by the way, I was really frustrated the other day with this latest mass shooting. I think we're at like 19. 19
No,
for
more
the
than
shoot-
that, right?
Anymore.
School shootings, 19 since the beginning of 2023.
I thought
think.
it was more than that.
Maybe. You know what? I feel like we're in that constant news cycle, even with the shootings, just the shootings alone.
Right.
But so frustrated thinking about all of the things that leaders and politicians are focused on that are really taking away from what's really going on and
course.
where we really need help, especially in Florida. When you think about the fact that we just got hit by a massive hurricane, we have a huge houseless population. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about these culture war issues. And I want to
Yeah.
give a shout out, since we're talking about Florida politics, to people like Senator Chevron Jones, who's really,
Aw.
really, really
They doing their
work,
thing.
doing the work.
Yes.
And
Shout out to the ones that were elected. I had
Yeah.
a opportunity to meet Chevron and a couple of Ashley Gant is another one.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Rep. Driscoll, who
Yep.
just won an award, I think I saw. I did catch that on Twitter.
I mean, she's the Democratic leader in the House.
Right.
And actually, not only are they up in Tallahassee doing good things, but were you at that one where they came and they were doing aid distribution
Yes. I was there
here
with
in
Chris
Fort
Myers.
Myers?
I didn't
That's
get.
right, you were there.
Yeah, you did see them because
Yeah, 'cause Charlie
Naomi
Chris
was
came
also
too.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people came down.
They
but-
unloaded a whole truck. Haven't seen my tables in tent since, but
Yeah.
because I rolled up
And
with
that's
the tables
crazy
in
because I
tent.
got a couple extra tables at my house too.
Maybe
'cause
they
that's-
came from me.
Maybe yeah.
And I was like, I'll clean up. I got
Exactly.
But it was important, because they loaded up a truck from it was Miami Gardens.
that. Yeah.
The mayor from Miami Gardens came and was
Reggie
doing
Leon.
aid distribution.
Yeah, Reggie Leon and Chevron Jones. There were several people.
Fencer
Several people.
Siskel,
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
candidates.
So they're doing good things despite everything else kind of overshadowing this. And even on these issues where we are losing, I caught a glimpse of Senator Jones's impassioned speech about the abortion ban and how this is taking focus away from Black maternal death rates,
Yep.
which
Wow.
are
That has been,
astronomical.
that conversation has been climbing and growing, and I hope it continues to grow.
Yeah, and it's actually the Black maternal mortality rate, along with the high rates of death from COVID, that has allowed the United States to slip to being one of the lowest life expectancies amongst developed countries.
What?
So now we went from being on par with countries like France in the European Union, Northern European countries. They have a life expectancy around 83 years. We have slipped to 76 years. It's a huge gap, by the way.
Yeah.
This is like aggregate data nerd stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have so many discrepancies in our expected lifespan and our health rates and our health care, Americans are not living as long.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
We are just really showing out in not the greatest ways
Sure.
globally. And
Right.
that's what, Chantel and I were just talking the other night. And what worries me, especially with all this going on, we laugh about the fact that Donald Trump is being indicted. But the fact is a former United States president is being indicted.
Right.
We had the closest thing we've ever come since independence to an insurrection.
Yeah.
Right? And we did
And a
not
lot
have
of
a
it-
peaceful transfer
and a
of
lot
power.
of it is just for stunting and just pulling these entertainment moves. And I said after Obama and then after Trump, we will never see a normal run of, because I feel like it wasn't always as wild. Like,
No,
it wasn't.
was so boring.
it was so boring. That's the thing. But now
I
it's
mean, I
become,
loved it. But
right, but now it's become just this entertainment hub, and people are really pulling stunts. Like I've tagged Sarah in this video where I guess they had this man, Anita Dick.
Oh,
God.
yeah, that was in the Florida legislature.
I had to laugh at
Anita,
that.
it was funny, but it's like, man,
Yeah,
like,
this is what's going on.
people are really pulling stunts for this internet, for Beyonce's internet that we're blessed to have.
Beyonce. All
Yeah.
hail the queen. But the thing about it is, though, is it is entertainment, but at the same time, it's like a temperature gauge on our democracy. And
Ooh.
that's what's scary, is a lot of people take for granted and have this idea of American exceptionalism.
Right.
Wow.
And they think that this democracy is permanent. And it's,
Right,
it's
it's
not.
not.
A
I think I
democracy
made
is
the
only as
mistake of
healthy as
thinking
you
that.
care for.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
this is all signs that we are not doing great, and everybody across the globe knows that, except for most of us.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
and I think
you're
you're right
right.
about that. Like,
Yeah.
because we take it for granted. We
Yep.
we take our freedoms and our liberties for granted, and the way we're able to go about things. And we see it with the abortion ban. We see it with the book ban. We never appreciated books this much until somebody tries to come in and say, "Hey, we're not going to teach this in public schools. This
Right.
information is not relevant. It's not, we don't even like the narrative that is making white kids feel bad." And now it's like, wow, we got to treat these things as if they are precious, because when they're taken from us, and like you said, it can so easily be taken from us, we have to be more engaged and more in tune. And, that's why we're here. That's why
Yeah,
we're all
right.
here trying to learn. But I really do want to put more emphasis on what a person can do, what the average person can do, besides just being plugged in and being aware of these issues. Like, you always see people say, "Oh, call and write your representative." First of all, I don't know how many people do that. I don't know how effective it is. Maybe it is. I don't know.
And
But it's what can we do?
You can do that, but see, so the component about writing and calling your representative is all about numbers, right? So that's why these campaigns where it's like, I'm against XYZ bill, because most of the offices, when they're dealing with constituents, they're not taking your name, they're taking your information to send you a form letter, and they're basically tallying how many people are upset about something.
About an issue,
If
right.
there's a whole bunch of people, maybe. But we're also in an era where there are people who are in elected positions who don't care what their constituents want,
Yeah.
and are voting in a way that suits their political needs. And I actually think that right here in Southwest Florida, having Jenna Persons Malika, who might actually come in here, we'll see. Her office is down the road.
That would be awesome to have
Well,
another
she said
guest.
actually in Tallahassee. But anyway, so she
Yeah.
sponsored She's one of the co-sponsors of the 6-week abortion ban.
Right.
However, we see across the state and even in this area, there's a majority of people in Florida who are against it,
Right.
or against the 6-week abortion ban, who want access to.
So
safe
she's not even
abortion.
listening to the
No,
constituents.
because
No.
this is an issue, and
Right.
you know, there's a governing philosophy that different representatives have. Some
Right.
people are grassroots. They want to hear what people are saying.
Right.
They feel like they have to honor what their constituents
And
want.
some people are authoritarian, and some people are listening to whoever is funding them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the thing about it is, and it's like a domino effect. Like all these, or even a puzzle, all these things have to be put together for things to work the way that they're supposed to work so that our voices are heard. And in Florida right now, the reason why it's difficult to even say, oh, call your senator, call your representative, is because they have a super majority. So
Right.
if the minority feels a certain way, they don't care. They don't need to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the problem with that is, and the reason why that's able to happen is because of things like gerrymandering.
Just gonna say,
where
roll it back
maps
to gerrymandering.
maps are set up, congressional maps, state congressional maps, they're set up in such a way that these people have safe districts. They
Right.
know that they can win because they don't need your vote. They don't need my vote, because they draw out, and you should see our map right now. Like when Lee County, we have 3 different representatives just for Lee County. I mean, the way it's split up is ridiculous, but it makes safe districts so that they don't need to appease the minority constituents.
They don't even need to come around. They
No.
don't need to
Right.
show up.
It's
No,
crack
they
and
don't.
pack.
Right. So these are the things that people need to be knowledgeable about,
Right.
is the fact that the game isn't set up fair. So,
not fair.
So our voices aren't being heard because we're playing in a rigged game in this
Right.
state right now. So
So do you think people are really moving out of Florida? Like, do you think that's a real thing?
yes,
Flexit. That's what they call it.
flex it.
Flexit. They getting
So-
up out of here.
Okay. So yes and no. So Florida has been leading the country in migration for a long time. It has. Lee County, or Southwest Florida overall, the 5-county region, has seen 11% growth year over year for almost a decade. Okay. It's not, people are rarely moved to moving, right, by political issues. It's a very, very, very small portion of the population, and an even smaller portion of the population ever moves further than 100 miles from where they were born.
And I feel like
This is true.
And I feel like only the privileged can move
And
anyway.
only the privileged
like
can move.
just can pack up and move, because
Right.
that's just not an option for so many people.
Right.
Like, but
That's why I'm dead set on staying.
yeah,
Because,
I'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
I can't leave
but I think I
Wait,
wonder-
why you can't? Wait, what? Why you?
because
can't
of my
leave?
divorce settlement with my kids. I cannot move within 50 miles
Right.
of my original marital home.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So I can't even go to Tampa. I can't go to Miami. I have to
She's
stay
here.
50 miles from right there.
And we are so blessed that you here fighting for us.
So I have to fight, and I'm fighting for my kids
gotta keep
too.
moving.
No, I said you don't have to.
Oh, I ain't
In
know.
fact, I think it affects the sound when you do.
Really?
I don't know.
Who knows? We'll do
We'll
our best.
see.
I'm just trying to eliminate
trying
the
to-
work that you're doing.
Right. No, and it's so natural to me. I'm just
I
like,
wonder though,
feel
is
like-
that data, like how old is that data that says that people don't move for political reasons? Because I feel like we're starting to see, as polarization grows and certain states are safe states for certain parties, I think that we are going to see more people. I feel like I know Democrats that have left the state of Florida for
Yeah.
political reasons.
I do too, but again, it's still, even anecdotal evidence is small compared to the whole.
To the big picture. yeah.
Overall, people have been moving
Uh-huh.
as a broad trend over decades to areas that are more like-minded, politically or not.
Right.
And this has to do with suburbanization and the
Right,
rise
yeah.
of the car and blah, blah, blah. But it's not the most compelling factor for the vast majority of
Right.
people.
I thought the hurricane was going to scare some of these people away from moving here. It did not work. They're still
Well,
coming
it
in droves, I feel
moved
like.
a lot of poor people out.
No, I wanted
Yeah.
to keep newcomers.
I know,
from
but
coming.
what
I
I'm
want to
saying,
keep
no,
our people.
No, it forced a lot of the poorer people and people who can afford to fix up their homes
Or work.
to sell them. Yeah.
Or work. A lot of times, like, and this is the thing that's so infuriating when we're talking about these culture wars. Like, our beach was decimated.
Yeah.
Decimated. And many of the people that live here full time work on those beaches.
Right.
So how many people not only lost their homes but lost
Right.
their jobs for an extended period of time?
Well, you know who kept their jobs? The strippers, right? Because they built
they
that
built
tent.
a whole tent on the beach.
Listen, it can be done. That's all I'm saying.
Ingenuity.
But
Listen.
if you were working at the cottage and there's no restaurant anymore, you're not working there.
Yeah.
And here's some data around that too. We lost over 12,000 residential homes that were completely damaged or majorly damaged.
Wow.
So you're talking, maybe 20, 30,000 people whose homes were inhabitable. So yeah,
Right.
those people immediately had to leave. You're talking also about a donut economy here in Southwest Florida, where you have a glut of retirees and CEOs and people at the top who
Right.
have a lot of money. And the vast majority of the rest of the working population is in the retail and hospitality sector, which again has been totally decimated. We're leading Florida in unemployment rates because of that. There's a very, very small, professional and middle income class here, which is why I call it the donut economy.
Right.
So we are not even able to sustain a whole lot of things here because of those factors.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know. But welcome to Mornings on the Juice.
I know that turned left real quick, and I feel like we're at a dark space right now.
It was a
How
dark
can we
space. Well,
uplift
because
this?
listen,
Well, we finna uplift this because I'm finna go to work. I got.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe I got like 10 more minutes of talking
Here's
time.
one thing I would like to see us add to the juice, especially now that we are a morning show, because people will be
Okay.
driving to work. I think we need to do a drop of the week and mention a song that somebody can listen
Ooh,
to on their way to work.
baby.
As I said in my first episode, music is
We just need
my
to play
love.
it.
Do you
Just
have
pull it
one?
up and play it, and let's just sit here while they listen to
I'm
it.
going to be honest with you. Any of my drops of the week may
No.
not be appropriate.
Yeah, because
parental advisory.
listen, Sarah be on that. She like diss tracks. She like diss albums. Like somebody dissing somebody or
I
whatever.
feel like we need to make a diss track.
For sure. Who we gonna diss?
Let's make a diss
I
track.
know who we
about-
gonna diss.
I got a lot of
Who?
people to diss.
Who we gonna diss?
I know. Oh my God.
I can't even repeat that. On
You
here.
better never ever
I would never.
repeat it.
We could
Oh my
we could
God.
sneak diss her though.
I have somebody that
Hello.
we can. How about we shout out to
Shout
Blue
out to
Note.
Blue Note.
Note.
We love Blue Note.
Yo, Blue Note. Drop
Melinda
that Blue Note.
Daniel.
The Cipher is her single from April 2022.
Let's play a little bit of that right now.
Yeah,
we can-
yeah,
let's see
yeah.
if we
Yes, you
do
can.
it.
Ooh, I like
Just
that you
put it on the
incorporated
mic.
a local artist and especially Fort Myers' favorite artist.
Hold on. Somebody tag Blue Note.
It hasn't been some change, and I know it's not what you expected to see. I made some choices about my life, those always didn't feel right. Escape the noises of my strife.
Oh, Danica. Hi, Danica. Yay. So I think this is actually Energy by Blue Note. It's just the one that I pressed. I'm feeling a little pressure here. Hopefully you can see it.
Tell them where they can find Blue Note's music.
Blue
Blue
Note.
Note, hop on here and
We need to interview Blue Note.
Yeah.
Blue Note, come through.
yo,
Come through.
Friday
You-
morning. Next
Listen,
Friday.
I pulled that up on Apple Music. I mean, she's everywhere.
You
She's
see
getting
it,
big.
Blue
She is.
She's great. Yeah, maybe we can get her to come and sing for us some morning,
I
perform
feel
for
very
us.
fortunate because
Oh, my ex just sent me $50. See, shout out to the exes out there that still show love, man. Listen, let's bring love back. See, Sarah be standing in the way of love, but yeah, you
I
do.
love. What are you talking about?
You don't be loving love to help get me back with.
I'm
All right, we
jaded.
ain't going.
Hey,
Yeah,
put some real juice on the juice this morning.
might as well. What else are we doing today before work?
Yeah, I mean,
But anyway, I love y'all.
I
It's
love you
time
too.
to wrap it up. But next week we're gonna be here. Blue Note, come through.
come through.
Danica, come through. Shout out to Danica and Phoenix. Shout out to Cindy this morning, who has been rocking and rolling with us, giving us energy, dropping little jewels and nuggets throughout the chat. But yeah, shout out to everybody for watching the Juice podcast, and We love you.
We love you too. I was
Love
going to
you.
say, we're changing up the dates and times. So we're going to be doing live shows at Seed and Bean Friday mornings from 7:30 a.m. And then we're going to be putting out the edited podcast on Mondays.
Ooh,
So look for
end
that.
your week and start your week with the
There
juice.
you go. Exactly.
Man.
So check all of that out at bigmouthmediafl.com. Help us out. Help independent media in Florida. You can get a subscription to the juice for $4.99 a month or $49.99 a year. You can get the everything package for all of the amazing shows at Big Mouth Media for $19.99 a month.
Only
Or
$19.99 a month.
yeah, only $19.99 a month, and you help us keep this message going out. So thanks so much for joining us here on The Juice, and see you next time.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend.